live? Alright. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and everyone else around, about, and in between. It is time for the 5-digit United States Cup 2025 Grand Finals, North California versus... Wait, what's that? Hold on. It's 2026? And it's not Grand Finals, it's round of 16? What is this? North California versus Texas in the Major League round of 16. What is going on here? I am Bless, and I'm bringing you this marquee match up of the weekend. Probably the most exciting match of the weekend. It is North California versus Texas. And what other way to start off the weekend than with a banger match like this one? Two teams with such strong history, with such a rich history in the 5-digit United States Cup. North California, of course, winning the initial iteration all the way back in 2022, and Texas winning just last year. But of course, these teams have gone through so many changes over the years, and these rosters, if you compare them to their winning iterations, they're only partially recognizable. Only two players from that initial winning roster of NorCal on this iteration. Going to be Annoying Maniac, and SkyZ also goes by Azurium. Joining them is going to be NorCal's mascot, Cytazine, Noobish player also known as NYL, and AJ Mosca and Asa 3 to round out the rest. Asa, of course, returning player from last year, and AJ Mosca, longtime A player, taking a step down to minor league last year to win it, and then coming right back up. On the other side for Texas, they did lose their winning mechanics core, Zova, Zombie, and JPEG, but in return, they do have their rising star, Matsaku, and their longtime GOAT, Karazmic, also known as Kisasan Black, and also new spawn in Sirius, going by Miji Inubashiri for their little collab they have going. Of course, winning members from last year returning are going to be EXO-8, Wonder Cute, aka Magirhythm, and Chevy, aka Smart Falcon. And you might be wondering why these teams are meeting in the round of 16 in such an early round. That is because Texas, they were missing EXO in their qualifiers, and that did lead to a little bit of an incident, putting them down at seed 13. But as I yap about these teams that have already gone through the picks and ban, it is a Hidden 2 and Hidden 1 ban for Texas, and a No Mod 1 and DT1 ban for NorCal. We will discuss those in further detail later, but for now, it is a fast Hard Rock 2 pick for Texas, and this is playing definitely to their historical strengths as a Hard Rock state, a mechanic state. You know, you can take the Zova Zombie JPEG out of Texas, but you can't take the Texas out of... You know, where am I even going with this one? You can take the mechanics players out of Texas, but you can't take the mechanics out of... You can't take the Texas out of mechanics. And despite losing such strong players from last year, they still have plenty of players to bring up the rear. Of course, Karazmic, very well known for his performances on the Hard Rocks throughout the years, even winning the 0th iteration of the 5-digit World Cup, 2020 5-digit Autumn Cup, as it was known back in the day. Having a little badge on his profile to show for his efforts there. And, of course, Matsaku, the rising mechanic star, playing for 5WC C team just this past year. And the third player for that roster, probably just going to be EXO-8. No one else really making a ton of sense. Of course, winning 5USC last year, alongside the graduating trio of Zova, JPEG, and Zombie. But on the other side for NorCal, these Hard Rock players are no slouch either. Annoying Maniac, SkyZ, and NYL. Particularly NYL, also known as Noobish Person, showing incredible results on the Hard Rock in tryouts. Of course, can't really talk about the specific scores, but they were some really strong scores. And of course, Annoying Maniac and SkyZ returning players. Azurium, a little bit more known for his hidden and gimmick stuff, but Hard Rock still well within his wheelhouse, and he has actually said in the past that he does prefer playing Hard Rock more than hidden. So a little bit not so well known, a little bit unknown fact about him, and we did see him perform quite well in the Hard Rock 2s, the Precision maps in the AIDS Grand Finals last year in AIDS 2 up against Tarragon, one of the other best players in the United States. But here we go into the map. It's going to be a couple early misses from NorCal, Annoying Maniac, and Skyzy. Texas still holding on nicely, and this is probably why they are picking it. It is still a precision map, and also a first pick precision map, not something you normally see due to those typical first map nerves. And excuse my earlier words, is maybe those first map nerves might be playing a little bit of an effect here, as we do see Matsaku and EXO on the early breaks. NYL still holding on to that FC matching Karasmic there. Taking a quick check-in on the accuracies, looking really comfortable across the board. 98s for NorCal, and a 95 for EXO, 96 for Matsaku, and 96 for Karasmic. Unfortunately, Cursing going to be dropping his recovery, but NYL still holding on to the FC, matching Kitasan Black, matching Karasmic, and that is an 80k score lead as we go into the back half of the map. But there goes NYL right there on a little miss of this aim, and that will bring things quite quickly back to the way of Texas, as Karasmic still holding on to this FC on the Hard Rock 2, really showing his pedigree on this skill set, why he has made such a name for himself on the Hard Rock, and especially on the precision skill set. But there he goes, dropping the combo. The score line is still so close, 1k, and it does flip over to the side of NorCal, as Cursing does have the recovery into the ending. Skyzy, also a small recovery to match that of Matsaku, but it's just Cursing on the biggest combo in the lobby at the moment. The score lead is so close, just 40,000. Any chain miss into the ending could make the difference, but I think there's barely enough work done. MIL will drop his recovery as well, and so will Skyzy, but Cursing enough work into the ending, and that 300,000, or that 300 combo and nearly 600,000 score will secure things for NorCal, finding an early break point. And as we look at the scores and a little bit of a better overall team performance for NorCal versus the singular standout performance of Karasmic for Texas, I would like to welcome my co-caster into the booth. Laren, how are you doing?
Hello, bro. I'm so excited for this match. It looks like I missed just one map, but yeah, let's freaking go.
Yeah, of course, very exciting matchup we have here. The marquee matchup, if you will, for this weekend. And finally, we have a little bit of a breather to talk about these bans. So, Texas, the Hidden 2, to me, is no surprise. They do still have two really good gimmick players in Magirhythm and Chevy, of course, winning 5USC last year. But their third player being Karasmic on the reading is potentially the only real weak spot you could talk about for this Texas roster.
For sure. And I would mention as well, I mean, I think ordinarily a Hidden 2 at this SR probably very playable for any third player on this team for Texas, but this one's kind of weird. Even for like people who are very comfortable on Hidden, very comfortable on the reading, this one's pretty weird. Maybe just like, you know, maybe not too comfortable in the team score. Maybe like, oh, we don't have a great scores, but yeah, it just happens. It makes sense to me. And yeah. Same story with the Hidden one. Just definitely the standout map for me in this pool, difficulty-wise. But yeah, maybe a little biased there. Yeah.
I was actually thinking that the Hidden 1 would be quite a good pick for Texas, as I know Magirhythm is, despite his larger reputation for the reading, the reading gimmicks, I do know he has quite good aim, as we did see some of that on display in the 5-digit Texas tournament earlier this year.
This is true, yeah.
Yeah, and then, of course, you have Karasmic, and I'm pretty sure any of your strong reading players or any of your strong aim players, could play this map as well, looking towards both Matsaku and Karasmic. I'm pretty sure they have enough ability to fill Hidden, and more than enough aim ability to put up a really good score on that map. So a little bit surprising to see that they banned it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's it makes sense, but yeah, I mean, aim players on NorCal also definitely very strong for sure. This map or that map being big aim might add to the uncomfortability, but for sure, just like very capable players in the lobby. You know, it just might
Yeah.
be an uncomfortable toss-up to them.
Yeah. And on that note, Asa3, really strong hidden one player. I think he put up some crazy hidden one scores in his 5WC winning run back in 2025. Really good on the hidden aim mechanics. And of course, Annoying Maniac Cursing, more than capable of combo gaming that map. And probably the third player would either be one of Enmil, AJ Moska, or Skyzy, of course. Still incredibly scary as a third player, but that is neither here nor there. We're playing the easy one, the other reading map that Texas opted to ban, and of course, NorCal looking to pick this one quite early on, grasping at that, snatching that opportunity right up as it is given to them. And we're in for a little bit of a long one as we do take a look at the rosters. This is the reason why I really expected for Texas to ban the easy one instead of the hidden one, despite the strengths of hidden one for NorCal that we just discussed. Like, you're looking at the names in this lobby, you have Skyzy, Azurium, and then you have Cytazine of all players, and then your third player is still just AJ Moska. Like, this is an insane easy roster. Now, of course, looking on the other side, you do have Wonder Q, also known as Magi Rhythm, Chevy, also known as Smart Falcon, and Karasmic Hitasan Black. But again, like, yes, Chevy and Magi Rhythm are crazy reading players, of course, winning 5-digit United States Cup last year. But Karasmic as your third player does leave at least a little bit of room for doubt. And when you do have two such good teams as NorCal and Texas on a low SR pool, this is only 6.1 stars or so. Any minor discomfort could lead, it just increases the probability of a non-FC to happen. And when the players are this good, you really do need 6 FCs, or you really do need 3 FCs. And we're looking at more than just 3 FCs at the moment for that. On that note, we're looking at 3 SSs on the side of NorCal. Will be the break.
Wow.
And I think that is a real break, not just a Bancho miss. And this is exactly what I was just talking about.
You willed it into reality. It looks like he missed on the back and forths, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, score lead is going to...
break.
Wait. Oh my god! That's so late. That took so long. Never done my goat again, bro.
Yeah, so excuse us on that one. Still the ever so slightest of leads in NorCal's favor, as they do still hold on to the SS from AJ Moska. And of course, the other two SSs holding on for as long as they were, building up the ever so slimmest of leads as we go into some more back and forth into the next Ki, and a little bit of a tapping rhythm section here as well. Gonna need some finger control and some good rhythm reading, parsing out the rhythms.
That one's real. That one's real.
Real from Karasmic. So yeah, basically playing.
But it's traded.
It's traded out by Skyzy. A little bit of a cursor dance. Not so happy about that one.
There's ample time in this one to bring it back. I think there's probably... That's got to be at least 30 seconds. The players do get to see the difference real quick, should be.
Yeah.
But it's going to come down to the accuracies right now. Karasmic having a little more combo since he broke earlier, but I don't think that's going to make a big difference. It's going to come down to the accuracies. And, I mean, it's just really close right now. It could win either team.
Oh, but from Wonder Q.
Oh my god.
It's the most unexpected of places. It's gonna be straight out by Cytazine though. Hold on, there's still map to be played. 30,000 score is the gap, but these teams are so close. And we're not seeing the triple FCs on either side like we expected. But there goes the map into the final break, and it's just a spinner after this one. I don't think Texas can spin back a 30,000 score lead, especially as these players on NorCal are spinning well over 400.
Yeah.
More than comfortable for them. And yes, there was a little bit of a hiccup from Magi Rhythm and Cytazine at the end there. I think even if that hadn't happened, if that trade hadn't happened, it still would have gone in the favor of NorCal, as both players did break past the halfway mark, that is Karasmic and Azurium. And you even see that in their ending scores. So Skyzy holding on to the FC for just a little bit longer does mean he was able to have a higher total maximum combo. And we do see that an 8,000 score difference between the two players. So maybe it would have gotten a lot closer. It definitely would have gotten a lot closer than what we saw in the ending there, but still probably in the favor of NorCal, I want to say. But regardless, we do see a breakpoint consolidated and an early lead for NorCal in this matchup after perhaps some unexpected mishaps on the Hard Rock 2.
I mean, yeah. Like I guess you were right about Krasnick being the potential weak link on Texas, being the fill, not the reading mainstay. I was just about to glaze him a little. He did FC the easy one last week, but of course that much shorter, much easier to practice. But yeah, I mean, unfortunate timing on the breaks, and yeah, it just didn't work out. But overall, strong pick from NorCal.
Yep. Now, we do see these teams exploring some more skill sets. The reading mostly out of the picture for now with that easy one gone. We might see some easies later on the force mods, but of course not required to take those. And with the anti-mod pick of this pool being quite straightforward on the game, there's not really a ton of reading left in the pool. Maybe the no mod 3 with the swing rhythm and some of the awkward timing on the buzz sliders. And I guess the Hard Rock 3 is quite gimmicky as well in terms of the rhythm reading there. Some AR10 reading, if you will. So maybe some angles that NorCal can look to in the future, but for now, we are going to be looking at some tapping. So going from precision mechanics and alt to easy aim to tapping. This is the DT3, 261 BPM, just around 2 minutes. And the thing about this map, especially compared to the DT2, is that the spacing is really small. And the bursts are even smaller, nothing longer than 7 notes. I think even those 7-note bursts are like a 5-note burst with a slider at the end of it into like a triple. So even then, not really a real 7-note burst. Maybe you could call that finger control though, and we'll see that if that catches anyone out on a slider break, bursting a little bit too much and not really controlling their fingers on the burst. But I think these players should be more than comfortable of FCing this map, and it could just come down to an act battle at that point. I mean, we do have the expected roster for tapping in for Texas. It's just going to be EXO, Matsun, and Sirius. There's no real question about who else you would put in for this map for Texas. NorCal, a little bit more roster depth. Maybe you want cursing in for the combo game, but if it does come down to an act battle, then I do see this roster making a lot more sense. Asa and AJ Mosca, of course, really big tapping players historically. Asa winning the 5G World Cup back in 2025, as I will mention again, as a part of their tapping core, alongside Vlet and Valine, 2 other NorCal players, and Hotbread, for those of you who remember him. And then NYL, Noobish Person, the last of them, showing some pretty good tapping scores in tryouts, and looking to show just what he can do on the low SR, hoping to put up some good accuracy.
I think this is an ambitious pick from Texas, as much as I hate to say that. Okay, Sirius braced early, and I was just about to talk about him. We have Sirius, aka Miji Inubashiri, making his 5USC debut this year for the side of Texas A team. Very impressive. Yeah, he's just a great tapping spawn, can play all-around mechanics and aim as well. But the glaze is killing him, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking recently that he was kind of struggling a little bit, maybe with the nerves of just playing in Major League. And we do see at the break, he's the only player who seems to be struggling with combo on this map. Everyone else in the lobby at really good AC on the FC still. It just Matsuki down at 96, AJ Mosca down at 97, all the others at 98, and then there's Sirius all the way down at 95, a high 95, which will climb to 96 finally. But you just look at the combos and it's already a 200,000, almost 300,000 score lead for NorCal. As we'll see if they can hold on to their nerves after seeing the lead at the break.
I mean, yeah,
you started the job, you got to finish the job.
Their lead is amplified very much so by their accuracy. I believe we just had Asa 3 on almost pushing 99 a second ago. But yeah, and NYL as well, really high up there. Matched by XO8 now, but it's not going to be enough even if we had 3 FCs for Texas.
Yeah, and I think what really played into here is just also the veterancy on the side of NorCal. I mean, you have a 5WC winner, and then you have AJ Mosco, who's played every single year of 5USC, if I'm remembering that correctly, if I can just look at the roster history. But even not counting him, Noobish player, playing 5WC, I think it was 5WC B team, something like 4 or 5 years ago as well. Um, and if you'll excuse me for a second as I check on NorCal's roster history. AJ Mosca, yeah, playing B team for 2025, and then maybe wasn't here for 22. I don't quite remember. But yeah, that would be the only year he wasn't in 5USC, if I'm correctly remembering that. Other than that, he's been playing tournaments for so long. No issues on the early round low SR tapping nerves. And then over on the other side, we see Sirius in not only his first 5USC, but one of his first tournaments, at least in recent times. I think he had a couple invites to play tournaments back in 2022, 2023 or so. And he was ranked around the same range, just around 20k back then as well. But just having the experience of playing in match and having to FC on command, that's a tall task for a tournament rookie, especially playing in the major leagues of 5USC in quite a big rivalry match.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think you are right about him being a relatively new tournament player. Overall, making a comeback to the game as a whole very recently, within the last year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, all the way back in January or December or so.
Yeah, he did play, I think, like some in-house Texas tournaments, but I think that was it. Aside from AIDS 3, I think that was the only other one.
Yeah, and unfortunately not putting up such a good showing there. Neither did he in the 5-digit Texas tournament. And also struggling a little bit so far in the qualifying round of 32. Not really happy with his performance. We do see a DT4 pick for NorCal, and this is another one of those strange gimmick picks that's also high AR and maybe not the most friendly to the gimmick players on Texas, such as Chevy and Magirhythm. So you kind of need some players who do have the high AR comfort of action and also are able to actually read the high AR. But that is quite a niche skill, and especially with the sliders in this map, it's pretty difficult to read which way they go. Fortunately, they do sort of just loop around themselves, so maybe you can cheese the slider in just by just holding on where you start. But it is a little bit of a weird one.
Yeah, I think this is, I hate to say it, but this is a pretty good looking pick for North California. I would expect them to have a very strong team score if they are picking this. Needless to say, of course, but probably looking at least 2.5 million. And then we have, for the side of Texas, I would assume that the third is either going to be EXO or, once again, Sirius. It might come down to nerves and practice.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
will say Sirius has been quite good at the DT4 high AR picks in practice. But yes, of course, when it comes to match, it's a totally different thing, and we did see him struggle just now in the DT3. So Charismic and Matsaku, no questions there. Some really good high AR mechanics players. And then EXO, of course, to round that out, likewise the same, really good on the high AR mechanics. And on the side of NorCal, it's going to be cursing for some combo game. AJ Mosca putting up a really solid score on our tryouts DT4, which was also a tech map for those who have seen the sheet. And then Azurium, of course, not too many people think about him as a high AR player, but he can play it, and of course it's just AR 10.1, it's not 10.3 or anything. And then, of course, the slider gimmick of the map, as we're already quickly seeing early on, going to be quite comfortable on that. Now, I will say, now that the map has started, that Annoying Maniac cursing has shown some struggles on the linear stream that was mentioned in the pool showcases, being a likely place for a lot of players to break. Fortunately, nobody missing on the other linear / wide angle aim pattern on the map, as we just saw right there. When you are into this first TI section, gonna be seeing some sliders, some snap aim at 150 BPM or so, or sorry, 174 BPM. But these other circular sliders, it's gonna be really hard to read the direction in which they're flowing, but no one getting tripped up so far. Actually, never mind me, there's the first miss from AJ Mosca, and that's gonna swing the lead in favor of Texas.
Yeah, I was going to say this is probably going to be looking like an act battle until we get to the end, but AJ Mosca and Matsun finding the early miss will make me shut my mouth. Unfortunately, also to mention, Annoying Maniac struggling a bit on the accuracy there. Meanwhile, we have EXO and Charismic pushing 99%. So that is going to bring a sizable score lead to Texas, but it's going to come down to another miss.
Yeah, I mean, Matsaku did miss around 80 combo later than AJ Mosca, but there goes AJ Mosca again. As I was going to mention, might be score capped a little bit lower than AJ Mosca, but that miss is really going to push things in favor of Texas now. And here we go into the break. We do have the linear aim pattern and the linear stream, horizontal stream across the middle of their screens coming up in just a moment. Here it is. See if anyone breaks on it. Cursing going to hold the combo, but Skyzy and AJ to fall. It's just EXO to break on the other side for Texas, and Karasmic still holding on to the FC. Matsaku will fall, but there's already a 200,000 score. Hold on a second though. Karasmic breaking right at the end here, and this is DT with the DT mod multiplier. Annoying Maniac still holding on to the combo. It's just around 100,000 score. Is there enough time? I don't know if there is. It's 70,000.
Oh my god, he misses.
Cursing is gonna miss right at the end.
Yeah, so I was. Oh, it was just a slider break too. Yeah, almost combo gaming his way to the victory there, perhaps. But unfortunately, really late slider break, like probably like one of the last sliders in the map, and that's gonna save Texas, I think. Was Krasmic also with a slider break at the end nearly, but overall, Texas just showing a bit more dominance, I guess, in the accuracy.
Yeah, ever so slightly more comfort on that map. And I just know AJ Mosca is punching himself, beating himself up for that one, that 400k.
Yo, Krasmic is back. Yeah, what a good score.
Yeah, and that is really just an incredible score from Krasmic, it has to be said. 900,000 on the DT4 with really good AC, mind you, as well. And just barely an FC choke at the end on a slider break of all things. And it's going to be a Hard Rock 3 to follow things up after some success on the slider map that DT4 was. The BPM is a little bit different, and there are some more rhythm elements. It's a little bit less about the slider aim and more about the slider jumps and reading the overlaps and the density, despite the AR-10. But yeah, this is a bit of an interesting pick, as I was originally expecting NorCal to be a little bit more comfortable on this due to the gimmicky nature of it and all with the rhythms. But Hard Rock, despite the breakpoint on the Hard Rock 2 earlier, still probably favored to Texas. And I do think this map pick does make a lot of sense. EXO quite comfortable on tapping maps. Really good on tapping overall, as is Matsaku, so should be pretty comfortable with parsing the rhythms and tapping them accurately. Krasmic may be suffering a little bit more in that aspect, as he's not exactly a tapping player, but it is this map is tapping adjacent enough.
And notably the burst in this map, not too long, not super mechanically challenging, I don't think. This is probably going to be more like a reading / practice map for him, but also again something very comfortable on. If I were to, I don't know, if I were to point out someone that might be struggling on this map for Texas, it might be EXO, again, due to the de-resting and the potential lack of practice, but I don't want to say that to my go, you know. We're just going to have to see.
Yeah, this map is quite tricky on the reading aspects. As you mentioned, already seeing some perfect stack bursts repeated on some funky rhythms. And we're going to be seeing more and more of these slider patterns as well as the map goes on. AJ Mosca finding a strange early miss. Perhaps a little bit upset about that one. Skyzy, pretty obvious pick to have in on this map as well. And going to be rounding out the roster with Envil, Noobish Person, really good Hard Rock player, especially on the Hard Rock gimmick maps, putting up some really good scores in tryouts. And we will see them in for this one. The score lead is not really climbing that fast towards Texas, despite the AJ Mosca misses, and that is going to be coming down to the double 97s of Skyzy and Envil. But here we go into the slider section. We'll see if anyone gets caught out by these overlaps. Of course, a little bit of burst in there as well, and it's going to be Karasmic, the first to miss.
Oh my.
Cool. And
finding another slider break.
Texas. Skyzy and Envil still holding on to the FCs, and I don't know if there's too much else to break on in this map. You know, it is pretty combo gameable from here on out. It is just some accuracy worries, but you know, with the accuracy looking so good for Envil and Skyzy, 95 and 96 respectively, this is looking really good for NorCal. EXO, however, still holding on to the FC, so still some room for a comeback to happen, but that would require something catastrophic on the wide-angle aims for NorCal in this back half. AJ Mosca also with a nice recovery for himself, and they do see a nice, comfortable lead at the break.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just like some unfortunate missings for Matsun and probably Karasmik as well. But I mean, it's all said and done now. I don't think this is winnable for them. This is going to be looking like a mispick. Just a really chill outro. Nothing challenging about this, and I mean, like again, it's over. But I don't expect California to miss here, even though it's not going to matter.
Yeah. And even if Lightning were to strike, it is already almost 500,000 score in their favor at this point. The FCs are already almost complete, and so is the circle of victory. And Texas snatching a break point from NorCal on the DT4 pick, but NorCal taking it right back.
I mean, I gotta mention these accuracies too. Like, 96 is really good on this map. 98 almost is even better. That's just insane. Hard Rock map, insanely hard to hack here.
Yeah, I mean that's just the things that Enmil, that noobish person, can do. It's this guy is just incredible. The scores that he would drop in tryouts, both on the Hard Rock 3 and the Rhythm Force mod pick of that pool, just they blew everyone out of the water basically. And NorCal, a long time hidden and reading state, not really known for their Hard Rock. But with the arrival of Enmil, he is a really strong addition to the Hard Rock roster. As a Cytosine who we didn't really see, not too many people know he really loves the Hard Rock mod and is quite good at it. More known for his reading stuff, but really Enmil showing his chops and why this NorCal roster is so scary this year. They're so well-rounded on all the mods, on all the mod pools.
Yeah, and let me just issue a formal apology to EXO for doubting him. Once again, dropping 990k, the lone FC for Texas on that map, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. Okay, DT2 for NorCal though. Trying to, double down on the tapping following that DT3 win, but this one might be even more of a coin flip. It's sub 2 minutes, only one key eye, and I mean if you slider break during that, like even due to a missame slider break, it's looking really scary.
Okay, I mean I do think NorCal have sort of found a weak underbelly for Texas with this tapping. Sirius looking really nervous and just out of sorts overall in the DT3. Like, he was missing crazy. He was missing... He just couldn't stop missing. He couldn't hold combo. So I think they're really relying on their veterancy and stability of just having a solid 3-way FC on the tapping to try and reach match point on the DT2. And on that note, we're actually seeing Karasmik sitting in the
surprised
lobby.
To see Karasmik and EXO over Sirius and EXO.
The thing about that though is I mean I've heard lots of good things about Karasmik on every single skill set except tapping.
I think this is I would if it was if it was longer or more stamina, maybe. Okay, it looks like he will.
Yeah, I mean, also and some people just can't move their fingers that fast. That's the thing. Some people just can't burst 240.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll be serious to come back in. Hopefully, he can make a redemption here. They are gonna need it if they want to survive. More than likely not.
Yeah, I mean, he did put up good enough scores in tryouts to make the Texas A team as a tapping specialist to complement Matsen and EXO. So he is capable of putting up those scores in the lobby, but we'll have to see how he manages to adjust onto the big stage, especially now that he has played a map already, hopefully shaking off some nerves on the DT3, and maybe a little bit more comfortable into the DT2. On the other side, we do have Asa, Enmil, and AJ Mosca. Again, looking for some high accuracy gaming. It's going to be Enmil actually to find the first early miss here. Maybe not so happy about that one, but they do still have the slightest leads thanks to the accuracy gap. Sirius down at 94 again. We'll have to keep our eye on him throughout the rest of the map as NorCal looking really strong on the accuracies. Double 98s or double 99s, and then a 98 on Asa at the moment as we go into the strict ski eye section. Going to be looking at some big bursts, and I will note that this map is a little more aim heavy than the previous one, and there goes AJ Mosca, miss aiming a burst a little bit over.
But it's traded out by the entirety of Texas!
This is Major League. You're not supposed to do this. Ace of 3, the only player holding on to the FCs. As we go into the next comm section, the lone FC in the lobby. What is this? This is Major League. This is not supposed to happen, guys. What are we doing? This is not allowed.
I just don't know if there's enough combo to make a comeback on this one, especially with Sirius finding, I think, a slider break. I believe there's like maybe one more tapping section right here, but yeah, we're entering the outro after this, so it's
yeah, I mean,
after this.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this last section is quite dense, and especially with an AJ Mosika combo drop, if the rest of these recoveries on Texas hold on and Asa drops, things could happen, but I think at this point the score lead is far too gone. It is 400,000, and there's barely a sliver left on that pie chart. And the outro of this map, of course, just a little bit of some nothingness, a little bit of a nothing burger to close things out. And Asa, with, I believe, the lone FC on that map, will be the one to carry NorCal to victory, but a little bit of a strange happening. Lightning sort of struck 4 times on everyone in that entire bottom row.
Yeah, so we'll have no FCs coming out from Texas despite the standout accuracy aside from Sirius. Not sure what happened there. Like all three of them missed at the same time, I believe. 2 slider breaks and 1 miss. That was just really, really unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, all 4 players broke at the same time, really. All 4 of those on the bottom row, and that will put NorCal at a very early match point, despite what we thought coming into this match. Texas losing a lot of firepower when they took out Zova Zombie and JPEG. And while they do have very strong replacements in Mutson and Karasmix, perhaps Sirius a little bit of a weak link with the lack of tournament experience under his belt at the moment. I will note at this point in time that the last time these 2 teams faced was all the way back in 2023 in the quarterfinals. So likewise, fairly low SR, actually probably similar SR to this pool. But Texas looking a lot more comfortable in that one, winning 2-6, and that is another year that they won minor league. Texas actually the only team to win 5USC twice. Once back in 2023, and then again just last year. And of course, between those 2 years, they did come in second in 2024. NorCal a little bit less stable throughout the years after taking their victory in 5USC 1, dropping down to 4th place in the second iteration, and then all the way down to 5th, 6th in 2024, making a bit of a comeback to 3rd place last year, and looking to try and reach another podium finish this year, but it is going to be the Force Mod 1 pick for Texas. This is where they're putting their hopes. Today is the day for them to make a comeback, to bring things all the way back to tiebreaker, but in order to do so, they need 4 points in a row. They cannot drop a single one.
Yeah, so we have, we just saw Sirius step out. I was gonna say, I would be surprised if he played. I mean, of course this should be playable for him, but yeah, XO8 looking like a much safer pair of hands for this consistency test. Unless...
I mean, they do need a hidden player.
Yeah, Majirhythm hidden
Yeah.
might be.
I wouldn't be surprised to see either Majirhythm or Chevy even. I know he has shown... He did play the Force Mod 1 last week with Easy. So we could see a repeat of that, especially with the multiplier as high as it is on this map. I believe it was 2.4, if I'm remembering correctly. So that is quite a juicy multiplier. Okay, 2.3 is very juicy.
Yeah, so I think it's probably going to just be Karasmik on the hidden. Not too surprising. I think if you're versatile at both hidden and hard rock, you might just favor hidden, because it's like, I think it's just easier to read. But yeah, it is going to be Karasmik on the hidden, and Matsun will also be picking up the hidden. So yeah, only XO on the hard rock. The
thing is, this map is quite in favor, and that's actually going to be working against the side of Texas, unfortunately for them, as NorCal very proficient on the hidden, as we have known throughout the years. It was their main skill set. They have been known as a hidden team every single year, basically. And only in recent years have they managed to really diversify
Who's not
their skills. Annoying Maniac a little bit annoyed about the lack of a skip, but hey, we're on Today is the Day. We have to listen to the intro here, I think. But yeah, just talking about these players, Cytosine and Skyzy. You know, Cytosine, you might not expect him for this kind of high BPM mechanics consistency. Basically a mini tiebreaker. But he can play them. A little bit of shake on the first notes, but we will see him ease into it, as Hidden probably still very much his main mod, despite how much he does enjoy the Hard Rock in his own time. And of course, Annoying Maniac, very good at the combo game, very good at the Hard Rock, quite proficient. Of course, EXO can say the same thing about him and his Hard Rock, as he was the lone FC for his team on the Hard Rock 3 earlier. Going to be a little bit longer of a map for this one. 4 minutes and 10 seconds, I believe, was the drain time, with the breaks taken out of that 447. Give me Krasmic to find an early break on the Hidden, and this is already what I was talking about. We're looking at the accuracies on these players. 99 for Cytosine and high 99 for Skyzy. Wasn't SS just until now. Meanwhile, Krasmic already finding a break at 96 accuracy. Matsun at a high 97, low 98 at the moment. And the slightest of leads for NorCal going into the first pre-chorus.
Yeah, and I mean, nothing else really to note. Just, once again, as you mentioned, there's a couple of standout accuracies, but so far it's been pretty free combo before we get into this Ki right here.
Yep. And here we go. There's a lot of tapping in this Ki, not what you'd necessarily expect, as it builds up into a little bit of thing here, but there goes Matsako on the Hidden, finding a couple misreads. Cursor not quite going where he wants it to, and now it's just EXO on the lone FC to match the three-way from NorCal. This map is around 1/3 of the way done. It is maximum around, I think, around 2,000 combo. So still a little bit more to go until we hit the halfway point of the map. Skyzy, Annoying Maniac, and Cytosine all still holding on. And there goes EXO on the miss aim! You cannot be missing there! And things have gone from bad to worse. Texas have pinned their hopes on this map, but one by one their hopes begin to crumble. First was Krasmic, and then it was Matsun, and now EXO getting score capped. You could not find a worse place to miss unless lightning strikes for NorCal, and they all break halfway through. They all get score capped to a team score of 1.5 million. Krasmic...
Yeah, we're gonna oh shit. Yeah, I was about to say we're gonna have to see some misses during the slider section. Very easy to slider break here, and there it is!
Step 1 and 2 of the Texas plan have been completed. It's just guys going on, but there goes Krasmic. Lone big recovery for Texas, and things might have just stopped in their tracks. Texas are looking like Valve at the moment as they count 1 and 2, but they can't count to 3, and Skyzy will not go down. Skyzy will hold as EXO falls 2. It is just Matsaku on the 700 combo recovery. Some really nice act to show from it, but it's not looking like enough at the moment. Skyzy's still holding onto the FC as the solo section closes, and it is almost a 300,000 score lead for NorCal as we go into the break.
And this guy's almost 99% mag. He's not looking like he is gonna break. Some more tapping before we enter the last bit of map here, but he's playing really well.
Yeah, and Skyzy, the winner of AIDS 2 and a national champ. This man will not let up into the ending. Right behind him as well, his two teammates backing him up with some very nice recoveries, and Texas floundering into the ending. They gave it a good effort, but at the last moment, they will fail and flail. EXO, Matsaku, all the recoveries crumbling into shambles, and today is not their day. Today is the day for NorCal, and, you know, not making it to the Grand Finals matchup against Texas last year, getting shut down by Georgia in the lower bracket of the Grand Finals, who did go on to face Texas, but getting their shot here. And with their shot, they will succeed. Skyzy closing out the FC even 2040 combo on the dot. And that is NorCal in a 6-1 fashion, taking out one of their stronger historical rivals of Texas cleanly and handily.
I mean, once again, I've got to applaud this score from Skyzy. Really well done. Accuracy throughout the whole map was impeccable. I mean, what can you do against such a strong team score? Unfortunately, just like looking like the nerves getting a hold over Texas throughout the entire map. But yeah, it's gonna be GG well played to North California. Just looking like the better team overall this week on this pool.
Yeah, for sure. Just a little bit more stable across the board. Some deficiencies for Texas to look into at the moment. Maybe a little bit of a weaker reading roster than they would have liked compared to some of the stronger reading teams in the tournament, with Karasmik being forced to fill as their third. Of course, very capable, but a little bit weaker when it comes to some of the top specialists in the country. And then, of course, Sirius really going to want to look to shake off those tournament nerves, as you cannot be making a play like that one on the DT3 in the later stages of the tournament. You cannot be missing left and right on a map that is supposed to be so free. But for now, Texas will be sent into the lower bracket to make a run. I suspect they will do just fine down there, despite their team seeding. Still an incredibly strong team. And
next match will be against Louisiana A versus South Carolina A, so I think they'll have no problem down there.
Yes,
but
I think they'll be pretty comfortable going to at least semifinals, if not into finals, where we do see some of the top 6 teams of the tournament, where it gets really, really difficult to compete. But for now, we can hand their flowers to NorCal, as they will advance into the next round of the upper bracket. Congratulations to Annoying Maniac, Cytosine, AJ Mosca, Skyzy, Endmill, and Ace of 3 on their victory for today. They can rest happy going into next week that they have done their jobs well.
Yeah. So if anyone's not familiar, that's actually all 3 Texas teams down in the lower bracket. As much as I hate to say that, all 3 making an early exit to the losers bracket before the quarterfinals. Even I think that's probably historic, right?
It has got to be a historic first, I would assume. All 3 Texas teams losing before quarterfinals is definitely got to be some sort of precedent, given how strong they have been historically, both in Major League and in Minor League. But unfortunately for them, that is how the cookie crumbles today. And North California looking quite happy. For now, that will be all from us. We'll be back later this evening with some more matches.
We do have a match in 1 hour, a little over an hour. That will be our last match for the afternoon, and then as Bless said, we'll be resuming this evening.
Yep. So that will be 21 UTC. That is going to be NorCal B versus Maryland B, some more minor league action, and then I believe there will be a short break until around 0 UTC, where we will be continuing with quite the large block going all the way quite late into the night. Going to be midnight for Virginia when they face off against Tennessee at 4 UTC. So lots more 5USC action coming your way. But for now, 21 UTC, and then a little bit of a break, grab some food, and then we'll come back for 0. But for now, of course, that's been all from us. I've been Bless. Thank you so much for joining me. Laren, has been wonderful having you on the desk. And
of course,
we will see you guys later.
Small correction, the 0 UTC match has been rescheduled. So it will be just... Wait. No,
there's just some stuff missing from the schedules. The cheaters are working on it right now.
Alright, I see.
But there should still be a match for 0 UTC.
Yeah, so, I see this. Okay.
We'll see you at 21 for NorCal versus Maryland. Again, 2 NorCal teams playing back-to-back. And then, of course, after that, at 0. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.